Part 81. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 805. As for the scientific research ship mother blueprint design plan proposed by Bismarck this time, for the senior leaders of the major camps, the impact it has is no less than that of Qin Ji's statement that he will conduct an oath ceremony. When Musashi informed them of the news, everyone came to Qin Ji's office immediately. After all, although they knew something about the progress of scientific research, they didn't know much about it. Qin Ji, who knew this aspect best, was naturally their only choice at the moment. If you can do the necessary homework before going to the experimental site, then I believe the progress will be very fast. When Zara and Veneto arrived at Qin Ji's office, they found that except for Tai Shui, who had clearly understood his purpose, all the camp's top leaders had already arrived. We thought it was coming quickly, but we didn't expect it was the slowest, Veneto said as he stood next to Richelieu and said to Qin Ji, "Hello, Commander." Qin Ji, who was sitting in the main seat, nodded. "Since everyone is here, let me tell you the specific situation. The construction of the scientific research ship girl drawings this time is our first attempt to make scientific research and public relations breakthroughs in such a long time. However, because this time with the assistance of the purifiers from the Siren Experimental Agency and Ember Helena, it is not a particularly difficult task, so there is not much chance of error for us this first time. As long as we follow the procedures, we will definitely get results. This is what Bismarck wanted to express to me yesterday. Does that mean that as long as we do it, we will definitely succeed?" King George V asked. Qin Ji nodded. "That's almost the truth, but it must be within certain rules." "What is the protocol the commander is talking about? Can you explain it in detail?" Yuxian asked. "No problem," Qin Ji said. "The so-called regulations are to not deviate from the historical process of the original battleship. In other words, scientific research ship girls are planned and built ship girls. Some of them only have drawings and some are more of an idea. However, these drawings and ideas must conform to the historical process and have a certain basis, so that all ship girls have roots. It is impossible to design a warship that transcends this era, such as the large guided missile destroyers, nuclear-powered missile submarines, super aircraft carriers and the like that appeared in my previous world. Or even space battleships, starships, and the like. There are also many scientific research ship girls in our port area. I believe that through understanding them, you can roughly understand the system involved in scientific research ship girls. For example, in terms of the Monarch, she is another possibility of the King George V class. The difference from the King George V class is the difference in main gun caliber and armor protection. Another example is Frederick the Great, which is one of the possibilities of the iron-blooded H-39 plan. It has not escaped the limitations of the times, but still has superpower with the help of the Mind Cube. This is why this time we have to find the senior leaders of each of your camps to talk about these things. You should be the clearest about the battleship iteration concepts of each of your camps. Therefore, the most important thing for scientific research ship girls is to express this, and at the same time, this is also scientific research. The rules for constructing ship girl drawings. So, the construction of the scientific research ship girl drawings is actually more like a further iteration of the battleship, or another way of expressing the existing ship girl, the company said. "That's right," Qin Ji nodded. "Then I should probably understand this situation." Musashi smiled and said, "Speaking of this, there used to be a Marigo plan in Chongsakura, and Baifeng, the scientific research ship girl in our camp, is the product of the modified Marigo plan. However, this plan had to be changed and cancelled due to the development of the war situation. It included a construction concept for the Super Yamato class, as well as a fleet plan for 2 super armored cruisers and 2 Teiho-class aircraft carriers as the core. If we go by what the commander said, then it seems that such an idea can be realized as a scientific research ship girl." Qin Ji nodded. I also understand the Marigo plan, and Bifeng does indeed exist. This is indeed a good entry point, but I am not sure how many scientific research ship girl drawings can be realized. This requires you later. They discussed the agreement with Bismarck at the Institute. I believe that your other camps also have plans or other ideas like Sakura. This is a very good attempt, and the Minato district will use its greatest capabilities to support each of your camps in the construction of scientific research ship girls. So if we want to build the blueprint for a scientific research ship, do we have to go to the test site? Soviet Rosia asked. Well, you will learn more about the professional situation of this plan there, so if possible, arrange the affairs within your respective camps and set off immediately. Try to achieve certain results before we go to Donghuang. Qin Ji said. Learn. Seeing everyone filing out, Qin Ji couldn't help but focus on the documents in front of him again. The top leaders of each camp moved very quickly. They quickly arranged their camp's training plans, then gathered together and headed to the experimental site. Although everyone can go there on the command ship, the experimental site is not far from the main island. It is more convenient and faster to go there like this. It took less than an hour for everyone to arrive at the outskirts of the experimental site, only to find that someone was already waiting for them here. Frederick the Great. Why are you here? Or are you ready for us to come? Enterprise looked at Frederick the Great on the sea in front of him and asked in confusion. Haha, welcome everyone. In fact, we have already started to pay attention to the sea area this morning. Yesterday, I submitted some relevant documents to my children. I believe he will implement them soon, so I am here to wait for you. I believe you also have a lot of doubts and expectations. I will explain these situations to you next. However, due to limited resources, the construction of the scientific research ship this time must be carefully considered, and the most beneficial plan for our port area must be selected and constructed. This will be explained in detail later. But now let me take you to understand our experimental site in Minato City and our latest research so far. Frederick the Great said, turned around and led everyone towards the interior of the experimental site. The closer they got to the experimental site, the more surprised everyone was by the situation before them. The sea area is filled with thick fog, which greatly interferes with radar communications, and looming in the fog is a huge warship similar to a mass-produced type. Moreover, in the experimental site, everyone also discovered the same facilities as the Siren stronghold, which made everyone wonder, what on earth is Jagged Blood doing? Is this going to be turned into another Siren stronghold? But now is not the time for questions. Everyone followed Frederick the Great and gradually moved closer to the main island of the experimental site. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 806. What are you talking about? This place has turned into a mirror sea. Looking at the shocked senior leaders of the major camps, Frederick the Great nodded, yes, this is the real situation in the sea area. The reason why I said to pay attention to your movements before is because I want you to see the true side of the sea. It would be a bit rude if it was calm when you came. So, the central device in this mirror sea area is currently closed. Enterprise frowned. It should have been reopened now. Frederick the Great smiled. So what are you Iron Bloods doing? Does the commander know about this? King George V frowned. Are you talking about the construction here, or about the mirror sea? Asked Frederick the Great. It seems that you still concealed it all the time. Richelieu frowned. After all, there are some things that are not good for my child to know. Although he is very courageous now, he always puts us first. For a leader, everyone can be regarded as a pawn, even if be yourself. My child has not yet reached such a state, so I can only selectively reserve it for him. And this time it is open to you, because we are all the same. As the closest people to the commander, we are also weapons made for killing. Frederick the Great said these words with a smile, and in an instant, the condemnation just now fell silent. Interesting, so I wonder what surprise you Iron Blood can bring us this time? It won't be as big a surprise as the previous ship transformation, right? Musashi said with a smile. Haha, it is indeed you. Frederick the Great smiled and nodded. Of course it is impossible to cause qualitative changes like the transformation of ships, but for the direction and strategy of our future battles, and in this world we have the absolute right to speak is of great help. Absolute right to speak, Genhai caught a sensitive word. Interesting, it seems you already know something. The first thing mentioned was not the sirens, but other camps. As expected, you are indeed one of my children's most valued counselors. Your reaction is very sharp, Frederick the Great said with a smile. Let's wait until we get to the island to discuss the specific matters. I believe you will know everything when you arrive. Everyone no longer asked questions, but followed Frederick the Great as he sailed in the sea fog. Until, a tall tower gradually appeared in front of them. It was a tall, black, and red tower that looked a bit like the core pillar in a siren stronghold. Everyone was surprised. When was this tower built? And what materials is it built from? Didn't Frederick the Great say he would take them to the island before? How did they end up here? Everyone's doubts and confusion reached their climax when Frederick the Great turned around and said something. Everyone, welcome to this island. This island is this high tower. Everyone was surprised and confused. Yes, this is the main island we built. A voice came from the entrance, and everyone looked around when they heard the sound, only to see Bismarck's figure appearing there. Bismarck. Yes, I know you have a lot of questions now, but as for the specific situation, please come in and I will explain it to you in detail. Bismarck still had that cold and arrogant expression, and then looked at Frederick the Great. Sorry to bother you. It doesn't matter, I will go and arrange their subsequent visit first, and you will be responsible for the next explanation, Frederick the Great said. Yes, Bismarck nodded, signaled to everyone, and walked into the tower. Although everyone was full of doubts at this time, they still followed. Now that they belong to the same fleet, I believe Bismarck will not do anything against them. On the way, several camp leaders also discovered that the ship girls here were not just ship girls from the iron-blooded family, but there were even ship girls from their own camp. It's just that I was assigned to work here at the experimental site, but I rarely returned to the port area after that. Wireless, you are here too, Enterprise said in surprise when he saw a familiar figure. It's a company, haha, it seems I won't have to hide it so hard in the future, Levi said with a smile. So you've always known what's going on here? Enterprise asked blankly. Yes, I knew it from the first day, but because we agreed to keep it a secret, I couldn't tell even you, Levi shrugged. Anyway, now that you are here, you will know all this. It's okay to know. By the way, Bismarck, are you going to explain it to them? Levi asked. That's right, so go do your work, we are very pressed for time, Bismarck said. Understood, Levi nodded and said to the confused Enterprise, don't worry, everything done here is for the future of our fleet, and it will never touch your bottom line. After saying this, Levi left the passage and headed to a place unknown to the company. Finally, Bismarck led everyone to a place similar to a conference room, but compared to the conference rooms in the port area, this place was full of technology. Everything is made of steel and glass, even the stools. When everyone was seated, Bismarck said to everyone, so if you have any questions or want to know, you can ask them. Faced with Bismarck's words, everyone was a little less anxious at this moment. Everyone looked at each other, and Musashi was the first to ask Bismarck, let's talk about this island first. It can be seen that it is the center of this mirror sea, so what does it mean? Bismarck nodded, as you may have guessed, this island is indeed the center of this mirror sea. In fact, the idea of the center started a long time ago. It can be traced back to our first encounter with the mirror sea. After that, start from Sun Moon Island. After seeing the mirror C area of the siren, we had ideas about the mirror C area. Since the siren can have the mirror C area as a means of hiding, can we use the mirror C area as a means of hiding? Later, the mirror C incident occurred near Sun Moon Island. I believe many of you have also experienced it. After solving the mirror C area, we obtained almost all the information on the mirror C area, including the information on the core of the mirror C area. When we come here, on the surface we are working on mass-produced battleships, but in fact we are still secretly constructing the mirror C area. Including the sea fog you see in the sea, it was also transformed from the microlayered mixture before. Because we all knew at that time that the sirens were monitoring us all the time, and if we wanted to take things by surprise, we had to do this. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 807. Does the commander know about this? Enterprise asked. Bismarck nodded. The commander knows about the construction of the Mirror C, but he doesn't know that we have actually built the Mirror C now. Ah. Why is that? He obviously already knows your purpose, so why don't you tell him your results now? Others were also a little confused. Because we have a plan to carry out, and anyone can know about this plan, except the commander, Bismarck said to everyone, because if he knew, he would definitely stop us. Tell me your plan, Veneto said. Bismarck glanced at her, and then said with very calm eyes, destroy this world. Huh? I heard you right, Bismarck, what on earth are you talking about? Is this what we do to destroy this world? Enterprise stood up and said. Business, wait a minute. Bismarck must have her reasons for saying this. Let us listen first before making any remarks, King George V said. This. Enterprise sat down and looked at Bismarck, waiting for her answer. The destruction I'm talking about means destruction in the sense of data, or destruction in the sense of antiques and the others. Bismarck said something nonsense first. Perhaps you haven't realized it yet, but in fact, the commander made an argument about this world very early on, and the conclusion he reached is also very interesting. At that time, many people thought that the commander was just joking, but after our gradual research during this period, we found that what the commander may have said was right. This world is not the real world, but is constructed from data. A world? What? The commander's guess at that time turned out to be true. Everyone looked at you and me. Obviously, like Bismarck, they didn't take Qin Ji's guess at heart. Oh, please forgive me for coming to Hong Kong a little late, but what kind of argument did the commander make and why did he say that this world is illusory? Musashi asked with interest. Enterprise glanced at Bismarck, and then said with reminiscing eyes, it was when the commander had just left the Commander Academy, which happened more than 2 years ago. The Royal Fleet led by the commander was fighting against the monarch. During the data collection process, we encountered the Mirror Sea. Among them, the commander had close contact with Siren's experimental mechanism. In that battle, it should not be called a battle, but in the level-breaking game set up by Siren, the commander learned something deeper about this world. He realized that all the rules of this world were established by the Siren. He called the Siren the Game Master. However, although the original guess had a certain basis, there was another explanation, so in the end it was just a guess. Game Master, Musashi said with a smile, what an amazing guess. I didn't expect Commander's ideas and vision to be so sharp. Then she raised her head and looked at Bismarck, so have you confirmed the Commander's guess now? Yes, this matter will have to wait until before the last Siren tide, that is, before Ember and the Arbiter appear. Something happened at that time. I believe most of you here have experienced it. We can clearly detect the world it's changing, but it's hard to tell exactly how the world has changed. But as the battle goes deeper and deeper, our discoveries are getting closer and closer to the depths. Ember and the Arbiter have powers beyond this world. The previous world could not accommodate a battle between them because the rules of the world did not allow such a battle. But since the rules don't allow it, then the most direct way to change the rules is to increase the intensity of the world. This is what Helena said later: our world is a numbered world, and the area where they operate is the main world. So how to increase the intensity of this world without affecting its composition? There is only one answer, and that is to increase the load capacity of this world. A new problem arises. If this world is the real world, then there is no need to increase the intensity. But since the intensity has to be increased, it is obvious that this world is a virtual world made up by others. Just like the server used by the game, when the load of the number of people is high, the server will suffer from various problems. But if you change a server, the upper limit of its number of people can be increased, but the nature of the world will not change. Compared to that server, our world is made up of that data. The commander has raised this issue more than once before, and this time we have found the real basis. So for us, the world is a cage in which we are imprisoned, and what we want to plan is to destroy this cage. Suddenly it feels a little unbelievable. Everyone fell silent. Although what Bismarck said was unbelievable, they confirmed that it was true, because Bismarck was not someone who targeted someone without reason. Of course, these are all plans we made before, and they may be slightly different from the real situation. At that time, we did not intend to make this plan public, but we just contacted some possible forces. Bismarck said, "But I choose to tell you now because I heard the exact answer from two people." Genhai smiled and said, "So it's Helena and the Purifier." Bismarck nodded and said toward the door of the conference room, "You can come in." Sure enough, two figures walked in. It was the Purifier and Helena, and the scene was a little awkward for a moment. After all, what Bismarck had just threatened was to destroy this world and this prison. They thought so too, but the real owner immediately appeared in front of them. "Please sit down, both of you. Since you have appeared in our port area, you must have a certain plan. I think as long as this plan does not affect the life of our commander, maybe we can all have room for negotiation. That's why I called all of them here today," Bismarck said. "Look, I know that iron-blooded people have a lot of tricks up their sleeves, and they will quickly realize that something is wrong," the Purifier complained to Helena. "Haha, do you think it's you who spend more time with iron-blooded people, or I spend more time with iron-blooded people? Since you can think of it, how can I not think of it?" Helena said with a smile. "So you're in a group? What's going on?" Veneto asked. "We are not in the same group. Although we were created for the same purpose, we have never been in the same group," Helena declared again. "Since I appear here, there must be something happening. Let's sit down and talk slowly." My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 808. Okay, looking at Helena and the Purifier sitting down in front of them, the company frowned. "Answer me a question first. The matter of confirming that this world is a virtual world should be raised by Helena. Came out, but why is there an additional Purifier now? This world is your experimental ground. Aren't you the ones who most want this world to remain stable?" "Hey, you guessed it right. It was actually she who suggested it. I was just forced. It's easy for lunatics like them to kill us. Although I'm not afraid of death, I just don't want to face them." The Purifier stuck out his tongue at Helena, looking a little timid. "Haha, don't your experimental institutions most want to see something like this happen?" Helena smiled. "Is the hope given by you still called hope? Only when we truly break away from you can we call real change. Isn't the purpose of your existence to explore all possibilities? For this, it doesn't matter even if you die in this world. Although what you said is correct, that is the observer's business and has nothing to do with me." The Purifier grinned. Helena smiled and said to the company, "Revealing the essence of the facts has no loss for us. It will also allow you to understand the world more clearly and judge what you should do in the future. This is for us a matter of mutual benefit and win-win. Just like the ship conversion I did for you before, we are not enemies now, and maybe we can become companions in the future. Helena's words made everyone a little confused, but before they could ask questions, Bismarck said directly, "Okay, let's not mention these digressions for now. It's up to you to tell them the truth about this world. This will also save trouble some. Let's just say it straight from the beginning." "It's indeed Bismarck." Helena smiled, "then let me tell the truth. In fact, your commander is Commander Chin Ge. What was imagined before does indeed exist. The world we live in is a three-dimensional world, that is, a world in which we can understand everything in the world macroscopically from the three dimensions of content, time, and space, and we can also understand specific things from the three dimensions of carrier, energy, and information. Last time I introduced you to Rubik's Cube energy. That energy comes from high-dimensional space. Although we cannot see higher-dimensional creatures, we can use the power of high-dimensional to break the three-dimensional space in which we exist. After the crisis occurs in the original world, if you want to save the original world, you must go back to the source of the original world. Turn the past that is destined to be reality into the unknown, so that the future that is destined to be unknown and dilapidated can be stabilized by us. This is what Ember and Antix are doing now, but the methods they adopt are different. We use the power of the Rubik's Cube to constantly travel through time in the previous world, looking for a glimmer of possibility. And you have all seen what Antix has done. They have adopted a wider range of experiments, using high-dimensional Rubik's Cube energy to open up countless timelines on the grounds of collecting combat data. Among these timelines, there are worlds that are the same as the original world line, which we call the main world, that is, there is one world for each ship. A world like the one you are in, which is composed of many ships, is called a numbered world. The upper limit of this kind of world is not high, and even beings like us cannot come to this kind of world at all. This is also the reason why we can come to this world only after the world you live in has changed. The numbered world is a possibility of the original world, but it is independent of the original world. Its historical process is different from the original world, so experiments in this kind of world are basically experiments with some illusory ideas. And such illusoriness is destined to make everything in this world illusory and unrealistic. Of course, the standards I use here are the standards of the original world. For this world, it is real, because we all exist here. This is the so-called reality of this world, and it is also the summary of your commander. However, because this place has now become a high-end world similar to the main world, we can no longer predict what will become of this place. Maybe it will really become an unexpected possibility. This is why we are surprised when we come to this world, and why we stay here in your fleet. We have seen too many worlds, but this is the first time we have seen a unique world like this. Maybe the secret to breaking the situation is hidden here. Interesting, so that's why you taught us how to convert it into a ship, Enterprise asked. Yes, that's one thing. On the other hand, it's because your commander comes from other commanders similar to the original world. This is a very big change for a world, and Commander Chin Ge also did something like this. Anticus will be very interested in him, but we do not trust Anticus. The ship is always the best arm of the commander, so it is imperative to transform you around him into the ship. Helena said. So Antix is talking about you, right? So you are very interested in our commander, are you planning to harm him? King George V turned his attention to the purifier. The purifier immediately rolled his eyes. Although we are all called antiques, I told you that we belong to the experimental organization, and what we pursue is possibility. To put it bluntly, it is basically the same as Ember's purpose. Otherwise, why would the observer give you some data and drawings about scientific research ships before? She just wanted to see your possibilities. What she wants you to pay attention to here is another group of people, that is, the people of the arbitration agency. Those people are directly under the orders of the Dreamweaver, and they can use all means to achieve their goals. So this time before the Siren Tide started, you suddenly went back because the arbitration agency took over your experiment, Jinhai asked. I can't give you a detailed list of the reasons. After all, this is also our secret. It's more suitable for you to think about it. The arbitration agency did intervene in our experiment this time, the purifier shrugged and said. Then what is your purpose? What is the original world like now, and what result do you want to achieve? What are the differences between these worlds? Where is our future path? Asked the company. Enterprise, you have too many problems. What I can tell you is that our purpose is to restore the peace of the original world. As for his current situation, it is very bad. As for where you will go in the future, that is up to you. Helena said this and looked at Bismarck. After all, only when you have walked the road yourself will you know where you will make mistakes, right? My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 809. But how do we know that you are not lying to us? Even if different camps in the same world have intrigues with each other, maybe you have indeed given us favors before, but in this matter of choice, we still have to sincerity must be seen. This is not only responsible for our fleet, but also for our commander. I believe you can also figure this out. Jinhai looked at Helena and smiled. Although it was a smile, it was actually a question, just a smile. Helena was not in a hurry. I understand your concerns, so there is a better solution, that is, what if we become you? What do you mean? Veneto was stunned for a moment. But there are also people who react quickly. Musashi smiled and said, you mean you Embers are going to join our fleet? That's right, when you became a ship, you already felt the connection with the commander's soul. So as long as we become your companions, all doubts will be unnecessary, because we belong to the same fleet. Commanders. Commander, as for the importance of ships, I believe you understand without me telling you that no matter how our identities change, that dependence on our souls will never change. Helena smiled. Tisk, I'm so willing to give it up. Jinhai smiled. Does our commander want you to value me so much? Travel through so many worlds and become his ship? We have looked for countless possibilities, so no matter how small this possibility is, it is still a possibility, Helena said. But once you join our fleet, you will have no choice. Enterprise frowned. But even if we don't join your fleet, our hope is very slim. We will either die in the search or go crazy in despair. Rather than doing this, it is better to hope that the possibility will appear, Helena said. Although the purifier on the side had no expression on his face, he was already speechless in his heart. As expected, these people are born to act. This is obviously part of the plan, and the original world has been restored, but now they are pretending to be so desperate. If she didn't know better, she would really be deceived by these people. The final decision on this issue is still made by the commander. We have no decision-making power, so now let us return to the original topic. What does it mean to break the cage of this world? What did you promise Bismarck? King George V of England asked. No, it's just that Bismarck wants to find a way to break through this virtual world. We are just a party providing information. Whether we can become a cooperative party in the future still requires your own judgment, Helena said. Then let's stop this topic for now. The most important thing for us now is to improve the strength of our own fleet. Only when the strength is achieved can we be qualified to stand on this stage. What's more, whether we need to break through this virtual world in the future depends on our commander's decision. Jinhai said with a smile. What can improve your absolute strength now is to completely transform you into ships, so that you will have stronger strength and achieve qualitative changes. In addition, the purpose of your visit this time is to research ships, Helena said. In this aspect, the research conducted by experimental institutions far exceeds ours. If they provide you with information, I believe the progress will be very fast. What do you think, Purifier? The Purifier grinned, I will only tell you the information and methods. As for whether you can get the blueprints of the scientific research ship in the end, it depends on your own efforts. There is no problem with this. As long as we know the methods and what needs to be paid attention to, then we will have the ability and confidence to study them. The company nodded. Sure enough, what you said is the same, the Purifier said, and then took out a crystal from the space and placed it on the table. This is all the information we currently have about the scientific research ship. As for the rest, it will be up to you to work hard. Looking at the crystal on the table, Bismarck took it without hesitation. This action made the Purifier's head full of black lines. However, Bismarck didn't care. He analyzed the crystal in his hand briefly, analyzed it into various data, and placed it in this office. In addition to some theoretical information about scientific research ships, there are also many practical methods for making scientific research ships. And among them, everyone also saw several familiar information. Monarchs, Frederick the Great, Cheshire, Northwind, Lewis 9, Parzival and several others. In addition, there are many scientific research ships that have never been seen before, and among them there are several scientific research ships with decisive battle plans. Super Armored Cruiser Agatsuma, Heavy Cruiser Drake, Super Armored Cruiser Agir, Armored Aircraft Carrier White Dragon, Light Cruiser Plymouth, Super Armored Cruiser Brest. Interesting. Musashi looked at the information with bright eyes. It seems that the port area can add 6 more maritime legend level characters, but the Purifier gave these to us. Aren't you afraid that we will eventually use them to counterattack you? The Purifier smiled, then you underestimate our strength. Now that the world has evolved to the strength of the main world, and you have transformed into ships, of course we have corresponding measures. Otherwise, do you think there are so many ships in the main world, how do we deal with them and take advantage? The company that got this answer was stunned for a moment. Can I think that since we haven't seen mass production of Siren during this period, do you want to upgrade the mass production of these events? Or are you planning more aggression? Who knows, but you won't rest for too long, that's all I can say, the Purifier said. For a moment, everyone here nodded slightly, knowing that this information was enough for them. The silence in the sea is not the defeat of the Siren, but the prelude to a new round of battle. After talking for a while, Helena and the Purifier left the conference room. Bismarck, do you believe them like that? The company asked Bismarck. I don't trust anyone, I only trust the commander. As for what happened today, this is just part of the cooperation. The last cooperation with Ember was their account of the Rubik's Cube and the special nature of the commander. This time they made their intentions very obvious, so I think since there is a benefit, we can continue to cooperate. Even if we are seeking skin from a tiger, at least we will gain something today. Bismarck said while looking at the information on the scientific research ships. Yes, every scientific research ship is a very powerful existence. As long as they are transformed into ships at the same time, the high-end strength of our port area will be enough to gain a foothold in this world. The next time we engage in a large-scale war, then we will no longer be on the passive side. Genhai nodded. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 810. In the tower, everyone was talking in the conference room. The plan for the scientific research ship will be carried out as set before. All resources will be directed towards the decisive battle plan, and then the highest plan will be constructed. Do you have any questions? Bismarck raised his head, looked around, and asked everyone. No problem, but when Frederick the Great came in, he called this tower the main island. I feel that the name is a bit untrue. As a ship girl, the place where the commander is the main island, isn't it? Enterprise said. Are you talking about the name? Bismarck shook his head. Actually, there is nothing to care about. Previously, this place was called the Scientific Research Island, which means Scientific Research Base. Later, it became the main island. The the island where the official is located is directly called the port area. I think the final destination of the ship girl or the ship is in the port area, so I don't care much about the name of the island. Don't you think so? You're right to say that. Ha, maybe I care too much. Enterprise smiled. Bismarck raised his left hand and placed it on his heart. The light on the ring reflected his heartbeat, making him look very serious. Please rest assured that iron blood will always be the sharpest knife in the commander's hand. She will only slash at the enemy and will never do anything to harm the commander. I will use my reputation and my soul too as a guarantee. Everyone quickly apologized. I'm sorry, because I didn't understand everything clearly before, so there was a lot of confusion. Now that we have understood everything clearly, of course we know Bismarck's good intentions, so we will try our best to cooperate with your plans in the future. Bismarck nodded. Actually, I don't know if I should tell you something. This is my guess, but it may be possible. Just say it directly. It's not your style to hesitate like this, King George V said. Bismarck nodded. Actually, I feel that this world was normal before the commander appeared, but since the commander appeared, all the eyes of the world began to revolve around him. And especially after this world change, our fleet is the weakest in terms of foundation, but those sirens can suppress the 9 major camps, but they are broken through by us one by one. Now it feels a little unreal when I think about it. The embers appeared one by one, but finally gathered here. Is it just because of the commander's special reasons? I'm wondering, is there something we don't know about the commander, or does the commander's future determine the future of this world and even all ship girls? This idea may seem a bit fanciful to you, or simply a daydream, but the more I come into contact with Ember and Siren, the more I feel the possibility of this idea. Perhaps if one day something unexpected happens, the reasons and mastermind behind all this may be against the commander. So we must be prepared in advance, no matter whether the outcome of all this is good or bad, we must have a way to deal with it. After listening to each other's words, all the ship girls fell silent. As their thoughts were racing, they suddenly felt that what Bismarck said actually made sense. Or they have never thought about the significance of Qin-Ge to the world. They have become accustomed to witnessing so many miracles around Qin-Ge. But after putting all this aside, looking at everything about Qin-Ge from a very objective perspective, you will find everything so incredible. Suddenly I feel that we have never looked at the commander correctly, maybe because we have always been by his side. There is an ancient poem in Dong Huang that says that one does not know the true face of Mount Lu just because he is in this mountain. Because we are too close to the commander, we have already regarded some things that are enough to be called miracles in the eyes of others as normal, right? Genhai said thoughtfully. Suddenly, I feel like the commander really does have the air of a destined son. Or for us, the commander's existence itself is a miracle, so when we use this miracle to compare with other things, it makes other things inferior a lot, right? Veneto said with a smile. If, according to Bismarck, everything revolves around the commander, then suddenly I found that many things could be figured out, and the context of some things gradually became clear. The Siren's key observation objects, the doubts of the 9 major camps, the cooperation of Ember, the opponents of the arbitration body, everything is because of us and the commander. Richelieu said. Well, but what is certain is that things will become more and more exciting in the future. We have to keep up with their pace, otherwise it will be really embarrassing if the commander is really on the front line in the end. Enterprise laughed. Yes, especially the commander who trusts us the most. If something really goes wrong by then, I will be really sorry for his trust. Soviet Rosia nodded. Let's start from now on. Although I haven't been in the fleet for a long time, it can be seen that the commander is a person who will not let down everyone's expectations. He is always thinking about everyone, so we naturally have to live up to it. His expectations, any conspiracy targeting him, will be shattered by us, Musashi said. Haha, I'm afraid that when the commander sees this scene, he may have a headache. King George V laughed, but the royal family is also willing to serve as the commander's sword. The sword's edge points to the royal soldiers. Will. Since you have all agreed, let's arrange it like this. The purifier has also said before that the calm in the sea is only temporary, and it will continue to cause waves in the future, so at that time it is also for these scientific research fronts drawings, when collecting combat data. Before that, we try our best to construct these drawings first, and at the same time, the scientific research units in the port area should not relax. Although the transformation is not as powerful as directly converting the ships, it will also be a very big improvement to the overall strength of our port area. Moreover, Helena mentioned to me before that there are some special transformations that can transform ultra-rare ship girls into legendary level sea creatures. You'd better discuss it with her when you are in the port area and do your best in this period. Time increases the strength of the fleet. Bismarck said. Well, I understand. Helena is responsible for the transformation. I will speed up the progress. I believe there will be results soon, the company said. That's great. I'll take you to visit the island first. In addition to the scientific research ships, there are also some interesting things here. Of course, you can also put things that cannot be studied in the port area for research here. There is plenty of space here, Bismarck said. Haha, has this finally arrived? To be honest, I'm still very curious. Then let's go. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 811. In fact, after Musashi went to the main island for scientific research, Qin-Ji's secretary ship was temporarily replaced by Magi. Qin-Ji was also a little confused about this decision. Logically speaking, Magi should go with Musashi. How could he stay as his secretary ship? After asking this question, Tiancheng burst into laughter, because they don't know how many days it will take to go to the experimental site this time. If I miss the day when the Lord distributes the rings, wouldn't I suffer a big loss? Qin-Ji rolled his eyes. Why are you so bad at learning now? Why do you tease me when you have nothing to do? What's more, you are the one responsible for the ring. Even if you are no longer in the port area, you will still help you stay. Haha, I understand what the Lord means, but there is always some hope that I can get the Lord's wishes earlier, Tiancheng said with a smile, but the blush on her face betrayed her mood. Qin-Ji smiled helplessly. Okay, then let's do it this afternoon. There's not much to do to finish the work anyway, so I'll go with you for a walk. Then who was the candidate originally planned by the Lord today? Magi asked. If you leave, then I will go to Shinano for an appointment today, but if you don't leave, then it will be your turn today, Qin-Ji said. Oh, Shinano-sama. I really rarely see her during this period. She is probably sleeping most of the time, right? Magi asked. Qin-Ji nodded. I met her once before. She seems to have slept more often than before recently, so I wanted to take this opportunity to invite her out for a walk. Magi nodded. In that case, why don't you make an appointment with Mr. Shinano today? The two of us have been together for a long time, but Mr. Shinano seems to have rarely been with her since she didn't sleep in your room we're together. Qin-Ji touched his nose and said, it's not because of this, it's just because Shinano's temperament is relatively quiet, and we are quite familiar with each other, and a series of things happened before that made me unable to get away, and I have to take care of other people in the port area. So. But it's still my fault anyway, so I'm sorry today. Maybe it's as you said, and I should go find her and have a good chat. My lord, there is actually no need to apologize. Compared to others, I am already much happier. At least I can see your lord every day and hear your voice here every day. Many people may not have had a good chat with you for a long time. In comparison, I don't know how good it is. Magi said with a smile. Qin coughed lightly. I always feel like you seem to be a heartless person when you say this. Well, let's make this decision today. After I have nothing to do at noon, I will go to Shinano. Maybe I can stay quietly with her for a day. Let yourself lighten your mood. Since he had decided on the date for today, Qin left the office after completing his work, leaving the remaining work to Magi, and went to where Shinano was. The place where Shinano has been living is actually in a Japanese-style building not far from Shigesakura Kojiku. In addition to being the place where Shinano lives, it is also a gathering place for destroyers who like to sleep on weekdays. After all, being able to sleep with a foxtail or something on your pillow is not perfect. When Qin arrived, he found that Shinano was the only one in the house, and no one else was here. This made him feel relieved. He was originally prepared. If the others were here, he would have to explain for a long time. If Shinano was the only one, that would be great. He took off his shoes at the door of the room and walked gently to the sleeping Shinano. Looking at her sleeping face, Qin couldn't help but poke Shinano's face with his finger in amusement. Well. Shinano slowly opened his eyes. When he saw that the person in front of him was Qin he couldn't help but prop up his body, and then rubbed his eyes with his hands. Commander? I'm sorry, I fell asleep again, I'm very sorry. Qin smiled and touched her head. It doesn't matter. I came here uninvited. Maybe I should apologize to you for disturbing your rest. It's okay. Shinano shook his head, then sat up and said to Qin Commander, is there anything you don't understand? Or do you need my power to help you? Qin shook his head. I want to ask you to go on a date with me today. I have something very important to tell you. Shinano's eyes visibly lit up. The oath ceremony should be the one that makes you so solemn, right? I'm very glad that you still remember me. Qin touched his nose and said, ahem, I definitely remember you. After all, we have been together for a long time. What Qin said is true. After the first school year at the Commander Academy ended, he and Bismarck's people went to Chongqing, where they obtained Shinano. It has been almost 3 years now. Too much. Yes, recalling all the experiences I had with you in Minato and in the academy are all beautiful memories that make people smile. It has brought a completely different life to me. Now I can enjoy it in Minato. You can sleep peacefully anywhere, anytime. Shinano smiled. Haha, as long as you feel happy, then where are you going to go on a date? To the beach or a forest path, or to a place where none of them can find us? Songlin laughed. Shinano shook his head gently and looked at Qin with a serious look. Commander, why don't we enter the dreamland? I have something to tell you there. Dream, but how can I put a ring on you in a dream? Qin was stunned for a moment. He has experienced Shinano's dreams before, so he can understand Shinano's meaning, but dreams are always virtual. If he enters a dream, how can he bring the ring of oath to Shinano? Commander, as long as my mind is connected with yours, the oath represented by the oath ring will naturally be in our hearts, Shinano said. Well, I'd better put the ring of oath on you first, and then we can enter your dream. I'm very curious about what kind of fate you will take me to see this time. Qin smiled. That's the best. Shinano smiled. Qin took out the vow ring he carried with him and put it on Shinano's hand solemnly. The two smiled at each other, and then Shinano slowly closed his eyes. Qin suddenly felt his eyelids sink, and his body involuntarily fell to Shinano. Thick arms. Go to sleep, Commander, I will go with you to meet our destiny. In a daze, when Shinji opened his eyes again, there was already a starry sky in front of him. The bright stars were all around him, and he suddenly felt that the scene was very familiar. Once upon a time, he had also seen such a scene in Shinano's dream. But what was strange at that time was that the Shinano who appeared in front of him was not his Shinano. Commander Shinji, you are finally here. My ship girl, my world. Author, Hwangming Muji. Chapter 812. Looking at Shinano in front of him, Shinji frowned, and then showed a look of realization. I remembered, I saw you, that time, in my dream. Shinano smiled and shook his head. Commander Shinji, I was not in your dream at that time, but through your Shinano, you came to my dream, and it is the same now. Shinji was stunned for a moment. In your dream? Why do I appear in your dream, and it seems that I still have self-awareness? Perhaps there is some wonderful connection between me and your Shinano, which allows us to cross thousands of worlds and connect dreams together, Shinano said. I still don't understand. Maybe what you said is too mysterious. I, a mortal, can't understand it? But, where is my Shinano? She said before that she would take me into her dream, so what about her? Shinji asked. Shinano raised his finger and said to Shinji, isn't she always by your side? Impossible. This was Shinji's first reaction, but when he looked in the direction pointed by Shinano, he only found a blue butterfly parked on his shoulder. An inexplicable feeling convinced him that this ghost butterfly was indeed Shinano. Shinano? What the hell? Shinji is confused now. This phenomenon cannot be explained in words at all. He can only look up at Shinano opposite. Why is she like this? Because she used all her strength to support the connection between me and you, so that this time is not as short as the last time. Shinano smiled. So Commander Shinji, I can tell you this time something. Shinji frowned. Is he the destined person you mentioned before? Yes, I believe that after such a long time, you must have found something different from others in yourself, right? Shinano asked. Shinji nodded. There is indeed something special about me, but that doesn't mean I am the destined one, right? Shinano smiled and shook his head. I have always been understanding the matter of fate. The cause and effect cannot be explained clearly in a few words. You can question it, but you cannot change this matter. And there is a person who has always wanted to see you. I believe that after you meet him, everything will be clear. Someone wants to see me, Shinji asked doubtfully. At this moment, Shinano closed her eyes slightly in front of her, and an indescribable feeling spread from her body. Suddenly, a hole was torn open in the dream space, and a figure appeared in front of the two of them. Huh? Shinano, why are you so anxious to find me? The young man said doubtfully, and then looked in the direction opposite Shinano. Shinji's surprised expression caught his eye. Ha, so you are Shinji, right? I finally meet you. The young man's excited eyes stunned Shinji. Who are you? Why do you know me? Could it be that you are the commander of Shinano? Commander, it's such a familiar title, but as you said, I am indeed the commander of Shinano, the young man said with some nostalgia. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Songkinga. Songkinga, Shinji thought for a moment, then shook his head. Sorry, I really haven't heard of your name. Songkinga smiled and waved his hand. Ha, isn't that normal? It would be weird if you had heard my name. But I finally met you. The last time you appeared in Shinano's dream, I was late. I have taken a step forward, and it seems that this time I have a chance to have a good chat with you. So you are the destined person, he said. Shinji asked. The term destined one is actually quite accurate. Not only me, but you too, Songkinga said. Have you ever played as a lane? Shinji was stunned for a moment, So you are also a person who traveled through time? I see, but I'm sorry, I have never played as a lane. My classmates asked me for help before, but because I was preparing to apply for the Naval Command College at that time, I didn't know play. Ah, you haven't played as a lane, but you are a naval commander. Song Kinga couldn't help but rub his nose. Here I go, I thought you were a two-dimensional nerd like me, but it turns out you are a soldier. Actually, it doesn't count. I'm just a student who graduated from the Commander's Academy. I haven't officially entered the army yet. I came to the world where I am now because of an accident, Shinji said. Haha, then you are much stronger than me then, but if that's the case, that would be even better. Song Kinga smiled. How has the world you are now developed, or how many ship girls do you have now? Already? Is this the world I am in? It has just experienced the Siren Tide, and all 9 camps have been severely damaged. The addition of Ember and Arbiter has caused the unfortunate death of many commanders and their ship girls. Only a few people are still alive. Alive. But I believe there will be even greater trouble waiting for us in the future, so I summoned with all my strength before, and I have summoned about 500 ship girls. Shinji replied. Have Ember and the Arbiter entered your world? It seems that their guardian plan has been launched. Song Kinga smiled. Hey, do you want to know the reality of this world? What is hidden behind all this? You know, Shinji asked. Of course, I have walked your path, but our methods are different, but our mood must be the same. Are you now having trouble eating and sleeping due to those sirens and Ember Riddlers? Song Kinga laughed. Shinji nodded. Indeed, every time I want to know something, they always say that I am not strong enough and they will not tell me until I reach a certain level of strength. It is really frustrating. Haha, they have never changed their ways, Song Kinga said with a smile. Although they are telling the truth, I hate that way the most, so I will tell you some gossip. But you have to remember these things I told you. You must never tell anyone, as long as you know it yourself. Do you understand? Otherwise, if they know that I told you something and ruined their plan, those people will definitely scold me behind my back. Shinji nodded. Don't worry, I'm a very strict person. Yes, Song Kinga smiled. Actually, since you met Shinano, we already know the numbered world you are in. It is precisely because of that your numbered world has changed and turned into a broader world. Experimental field. The purpose of this experimental site has changed from the original purpose to the implementation of a plan about the future of all ship girls in the world, which is the Guardian plan I just mentioned. This plan has only one purpose, and that is to test whether you can serve as the guardian of all ship girls and lead them to survive in the vast sea of stars. Ha! You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. My Ship Girl, My World. Author, Hwangming Muji. Chapter 813. Huh? Are you sure you are right? You are not trying to survive in this world, but you are trying to survive in the vast sea of stars. Shinji was very surprised now. The information told to him by Song Kinga in front of him was a bit beyond reality. That's right, in fact, what is happening in the numbered world you are in right now is all appearances, all acting. Whether it is sirens, embers, or arbiters, all of them are here. Acting. When Song Kinga said this, he couldn't stop laughing. Actually, the crisis in the original world has been resolved. I am now transferring the ship girls from various worlds to the Gaia planet in another universe. But you also know that there are camps among the ship girls. As long as all the ship girls belong to independent camps, there will be countless disputes and countless troubles, so they plan to select a commander for all the ship girls. Official. After having a commander, all camps will be united under a fleet with a commander as the core. Working together to strive for the future of the fleet will avoid disputes and conflicts. Originally they wanted me to take this position, but it was too much trouble to lead all the ship girls to live in the Sea of Stars, so I refused, so they found you, who has a similar identity to me. And this is also an opportunity for the Guardians' plan. They want to test whether you can lead other camps in that world to defeat the conspiracy of the sirens they play, and then win the final victory. And when you win, you will pass. After passing the test, he will become the commander of all ship girls. Listening to Song Kinga's words, Qin felt a little overwhelmed. Wait a minute, your sentence contains too much information, let me digest it. You said that you are now transferring the ship girls from all the worlds to a planet in another universe? Is this a human ability? Are you afraid that you are lying to me? Song Kinga rolled his eyes, stretched out his right hand, and a ray of light appeared on his hand. When Qin saw this light, his brain seemed to be filled with all kinds of information. He shook his head, closed his eyes to digest, and then raised his head in surprise. The controller of UN. Yes, this is my current identity. Song Kinga smiled. So do you believe I can do those things? Qin nodded. So, both of us are characters in a story. Ha, that's true. How about getting discouraged? Song Kinga said with a smile. Qin shook his head. No, or I am very grateful to him. Without him, there would be no life for me. I would not be able to meet so many people and things, nor experience such an interesting journey, nor would I be able to meet them together. Haha, your mentality is quite good, not bad. Song Kinga smiled. Maybe now I can understand the things you said, as well as all the strange things that happened to me. Qin said with a smile. Is it the Guardian plan? Maybe it is like their style. So, I told them that you are the same person as me, but they have to give you a test like this. They can just train you well. But thinking about it, this is actually quite good. At least you can experience the most exciting part of the commander's life. Song Kinga said with some envy. Well, actually it's not bad for you to travel through various worlds and meet different people and things. Qin said with a smile. Yes, so we have different experiences, but we have a common identity. Song Kinga said with a smile. We can just take this opportunity to hone ourselves, because that universe is not peaceful, except for some. In addition to ancient civilizations, other civilizations are also in a state of preparation to actively explore outside, just like the current ship girls. As the controller of UN, I cannot change the direction of those civilizations, so the future of the ship girl will depend on you. As a soldier, I believe you will have that awareness when the time comes. Qin nodded. Being kind to your enemies is cruelty to yourself. When you want to reason with others, put your cannon in front of them. Ha, that's the truth. Song Kinga laughed. It's enough to know these now. Later you will return to the world you are in. Then you will behave more normally, do whatever you need to do, and develop your own. The strength of the fleet just needs to pass their test. Qin smiled and said, I understand. As long as you tell me all this, I will know what to do next. Otherwise, as the Riddler said, I guess I will need them to give me some advice when I finally pass the test. Let me explain. Song Kinga was about to speak, but suddenly paused, turned to look at Shinano, and saw that her previously closed eyes were beginning to open. Well, it seems that my meeting with you is about to end here. He won't let us chat anymore, but there will always be a time when we meet in the future. By then, we must have a good drink. Song Kinga said with a smile. Qin nodded and said with a smile, definitely, drinking with the gods is something you can only dream of. Ha, don't tease me. Song Kinga smiled. In this case, it's time to say goodbye. I hope you can pass the test as soon as possible. See you later. See you. As soon as Qin said these words, he saw Shinano opening his eyes opposite him. Then the scene in front of him changed. When he regained his vision, he found himself lying in Shinano's arms. Shinano had just opened his eyes at this time, and the two looked at each other and couldn't help but smile. "Commander, have you seen another concubine?" "Well, I saw her, and I also learned some things through her." "By the way, didn't you see something just now?" Shinji asked. "No, I have been using all my strength to build a bridge between dreams, so I cannot sense what is happening in the dreams on the other side," Shinano replied. "Okay," Shinji nodded. He didn't care what happened after Shinano saw it, as long as she didn't tell anyone. But at this time Shinano said that he didn't see it, and that was the best result. "It seems that the commander has understood his future destiny, right?" Shinano asked. Shinji nodded, "Yes, but this is the fate I chose, and it may be pretty good." "Then I'll be relieved," Shinano smiled. "Would you like to go out and walk around together next?" Shinji asked, but he did not get up from Shinano's arms. After all, the soft body was too comfortable. "I have used up a lot of strength just now and am a little sleepy. I may not be able to accompany you," Shinano said. "Okay, then let me hold you in my arms and sleep for a while. When you get some rest, we can go outside," Shinji said. "This is best. My ship girl, my world." Author, Huangming Muji. Chapter 814. In Tianquan's view, Shinji suddenly became a little different today. It seemed that there was no confusion in him anymore, and his whole person seemed particularly energetic. "Moreover, I brought some books on tactical battles to the office today, and it seems that I have returned to the original state. My lord, I wonder how the date with Shinano-sama went yesterday," Magi tried to ask. "Okay, Shinano is still the same, unwilling to move, so I slept with her for a long time yesterday, and then went out to walk around on the road." Shinji raised his head and said. "Huh? There's nothing strange about that. Why does it feel like the Lord has suddenly become much more confident, as if he has everything in mind?" Magi said. Shinji couldn't help but sigh in his heart. He was indeed worthy of Tianquan. She could see even the smallest changes in him. "Haha, you also know that Shinano can see the future destiny. Under her leadership yesterday, I saw how our fleet will flourish in the future, so I relaxed and continued to prepare to strengthen myself." "So that's it." Magi was stunned for a moment. After all, she also knew Shinano's ability. If that was the case, it would make sense. "Yes, so since you are all so strong in the future, I will naturally strengthen my abilities so that I can better match you, right?" Shinji said with a smile. "Haha, Commander is already very good. We are all afraid that we are not good enough for you," Magi said with a smile. Shinji laughed. Maybe what he learned is practical enough in this world, but facing the vast starry sky, he still needs to learn a lot. When Song Kinga transmitted messages to himself before, he also implanted something like a knowledge base deep in his consciousness, and put everything he had seen and learned in it. Although Shinji can read it at will, you can't understand anything you haven't read before, and it will take a lot of time to digest. Doing this now is just a pretense. The most important thing is to read those things under the cover of reading books. Today's official business may be a bit long. The afternoon appointment may not start until after dinner. I hope Tianquan doesn't mind," Shinji said. "My lord, Tianquan has long said that I don't care. Because I have been with my lord for so long, it is no longer a substitute for a date. Even if I stay in the office all day, I can watch my lord grow up. It is also the best date for Magi." Magi smiled. Her smile came from the heart and was not an excuse. Shinji smiled and nodded. "Although I say that, I still have to go through the process. Otherwise, I will go on a date with everyone else, but I will miss you. Don't talk about you, even if it's me. I will also feel sorry for myself. Then just follow the master. You can do it any time today," Magi said with a smile. "Yes," Shinji nodded, By the way, did Musashi and the others come back from the experimental site yesterday? Not yet. Does the Lord have anything to do with them? If so, I can contact them for you at any time, Amagi asked. Shinji waved his hand. It's okay, I'm just asking, but it seems that they are very interested in the construction of scientific research ship girls. This is natural. The existence of Frederick the Great tells us that there are countless possibilities for scientific research ship girls. Therefore, the major camps also hope to take advantage of the opportunity of constructing scientific research ship girls to improve the strength of the fleet. If there can be a few decisive battles, it would be best to plan a ship girl, Amagi said. Yes, that's true, Shinji nodded. Okay, that's it, I'll be busy first. If there are any urgent documents that need to be processed, you can just put them on my desk, or just call me. Yes, Lord. As long as you study hard, time will fly by. In the blink of an eye, it was already almost lunchtime. After Shinji and Tiancheng processed the office documents, they immediately left the office building. They came to the canteen in the port area, and after having lunch surrounded by a group of ship girls, they started their date. Sure enough, for Amagi, she prefers the silence of the jungle to the passionate sea. Walking under the greenery of the tropical forest on the island, Shinji held up Tianquan's red umbrella. The two leaned on each other and walked slowly. The scenery here is so beautiful. It seems that I spent too much time in the port area, and I didn't even know there was such a beautiful scenery here. Amagi looked around and said with a smile. Haha, maybe Amagi is too quiet, I can't tell for sure, Shinji said with a smile. Just like Shinano, maybe even after living here for many years, she might not be able to recognize the people in the port area. Some facilities. For Amagi, all he needs to care about is in Minato. He only needs to stay quietly by their side. There is no need to care about other things. The Lord really understands me. Amagi smiled and said, what do you care about on the candle? What is worthy of your memory? Shinji smiled and said, didn't I tell you what I care about a long time ago? It's you who can stay with me for a long time. My lord, I was thinking about how to go home before. Don't you think about it now? Amagi asked with a smile. The place where you are is my home. Why should I pursue the original place persistently? Shinji said with a smile, then held Tianquan's hand and looked forward. Maybe we will go to other places in the future, but as long as you are by my side, everything is enough. I am really happy to hear the Lord say this. And I am the same as the Lord. The place where the Lord is Tianquan's home. I can see you every day and work hard to help you achieve what you want. Amagi's victory is enough, Amagi said with a smile. Well, so I have to take good care of my body, just like now. I hope that you can stand by my side when we succeed. Shinji smiled. I know that I haven't had a cough for a long time. The maintenance of the kitchen goddess is very useful. I also hope to spend more time with the master, Tiancheng said. Yes, Shinji nodded, and took out the prepared vow ring from his pocket. Then let's make a promise to stay together for a lifetime, no matter what the road ahead is, right here, on our way forward. It's best when each other is by each other's side. Looking at the vow ring shining brightly in the sunlight, Amagi smiled happily. I finally saw it, the vow that belongs to me. Sorry, I've been waiting for this day for a long time, so let me put a ring on your finger, Shinji said. Well, let's go on together from now on.